Well, I have a problem. It's 56 degrees inside, 55, and I have no fire. I have no wood because my saw is in the back of my car, my hand saw, which is at the mechanic, which I won't see for 2 months until I can afford to pay for it. And I spent all evening trying to get the chainsaw running. I got chain oil for it, and my borrowed chainsaw that I was using, wouldn't start for anything. So it's going to be a cold night. I don't have any firewood, and now it's after dark, and I'm done. I just got another care package in the mail. It's from Gary. I'll show you his YouTube name in a minute here. We've got a whole mess of coffee. Some good stuff too. Black Mountain, Java Delight, and Mountain High. And a disc full of music. I'll have to check this out later. Well, I'm going to enjoy a cup of coffee because I happen to be running low, so thank you so much, Gary. I'm actually going to try some of this Colombian right now. So I have a cup of cowboy coffee. Just measure this right into the cup. This makes one of the best tasting cups of coffee you can get. Doing it like this. Hot water in. Leave a little bit of room for my cream that I finally got. Let's see how this tastes. Just stir this a little bit after a couple minutes, and all the coffee grounds settle to the bottom, and you can drink a very flavorful cup of coffee right off the top. Put some heavy cream in my coffee. See how it tastes. It's a nice cup of coffee. I just want to show you a couple seconds of Cute. She normally doesn't stay wrapped up. She was on my lap on the blanket, and I rolled her up, and there she stayed. Well, I have music. Thanks to new solar panels putting out enough power, and some speakers I've had for a while, and a friend gave me out of his car he was gutting out. I just got them hanging for now because there's no ceiling, but they work. And I've got a cassette player adapter and an old cassette player out of an old junked out camper from a year ago. Never was able to really use it yet. Now I can. And I have my laptop plugged into that, playing music that Gary gave me. Happens to be, by the way, one of my favorite songs. Thank you, Gary. So I'm finally getting a halfway normal life. I've got surround sound. There's 2 working speakers up in the back half of the camper. So this is nice. On cloudy mornings and early hours, I plug in 2 of those big solar panels. Got almost 10 amps, 13.7 volts. It was hitting 14, but I plugged in my fridge, my laptop, my phone, and turned on my stereo. So I've got power to kill now. Still don't have a fridge or a TV, but I'm getting there. Just to give you an idea of the real power of solar, I have about 13.7 volts. Let's round it off to 14 for easy numbers. Roughly 10 amps. It's fluctuating but hanging at 10 amps. So that would be only about 140 watts of power coming out of 400 watts of solar panels. So just to give you an idea, although I'm running 24 volts into 12 volt batteries, so I'm losing about 50%. So let's even say if I was using 200 watt solar panels, I'm not getting 100%. It's a little bit cloudy, it's sort of gray and hazy out, it's not fully sunny. So that gives you an idea that your full solar panel output is not always going to be the maximum output of the panels, depending on the weather conditions outside. I'm attempting a very primitive form of off-grid canning. I have some homemade maple syrup ready to go. I have washed this jar previously and let it dry. I put water in a pot as high as I can go because I know it's going to be boiling. I filled the jar with maple syrup, and I'm hoping that I will bring the water and the syrup to a boil, and then it'll be pasteurized, and then I can put on my lid and hopefully it'll seal. Let's see if this works. I brought the jar to a boil, and it took a while because the glass is an insulator, but I finally got the syrup hot, the jar hot. I used a hot pad to hold it, and I screwed the lid on. Hopefully it'll seal. We'll see once it cools down. The experiment was a success. My lid just popped. So I have a seal. I now have maple syrup that I can put away for long term. Homemade. I just picked up this PEX coupling last night at Lowe's. It is 1/2 inch. I took the part into them and they seemed to know what they were talking about much better. So I'll see if this works. I hope it'll seal. I've never used one of these, but we'll see. Well, I was going to try to cut the clamps off with a Dremel and try to save the inch of tubing that I could, because there's not much playroom here. But my Dremel doesn't work, so I'm hoping that I'll get enough flex here. There's not any play here at all, so I really hope I can get the new fitting on. Well, I've got the new PEX fitting slipped into place here. I hope it's tight. I can't get any more tension on there. I tried with all my strength to push these together, so I'm about to flip on the power and see. I'm nervous again, of course. And we have a leak. That's a problem. Again, more water leakage again. Well, I seem to have a solid connection now. As I had feared, it was really hard to get this tight and get the hose in there securely. There wasn't much play in this thing, but I think it's going to be good. I have it pressured right now. I'm not seeing any drips. And I have running water on demand. Finally. Finally a victory for the off-grid camper. This has been long in the waiting. And in the bathroom, a little bit of air. Shouldn't be any hot, no. So I can wash my hands now. Nice. First job is to wash dishes. Just a little bit of water. I've got my soap on my sponge here. Now, because this is normal dish soap, I like to give it a bit of a nice rinse. But that water is going to be used to wash the next dish, so it should be good. And then the silverware is down inside.
Now I am using cold water, but it's better than nothing. Just a little trickle. I have 30 gallons to play with, and honestly I can refill this tank anytime I want now. But I still want to be sparing and save my water. But it's good to have running water in the off-grid camper. Finally, a little bit of normalcy to life. So after washing all these, I have 3 plates, a stack of silverware, and some glass jars that I will be using for my maple syrup. I used about 1 inch of water in a tub, because I used this to catch it just so I could continue washing. I think that's pretty efficient. That's not too much water to wash some dishes. So I think I'm doing alright. This is Troy from the Do-It-Yourself world, enjoying summer-like temperatures for the first time yet. And just sitting here taking a break finally. I have a special request, a shout out and a happy birthday wish for Marcus Johnson. So, happy birthday Marcus. Surprise. Alright, I hooked up my Harbor Freight solar panels and my old solar panels along with one of the new ones, which should be fine. The batteries have been holding at 14.4, that's fine. But what worries me is I have this fat wire here coming out of the amp meter. I smelled something hot. The amp meter is hot, and this fat wire is hot, really hot to touch. But the small wire is not. The wire going into the charge controller, the positive wire from the solar panels going to the charge controller, is cold. But the large wire is hot. The wire going in to the amp meter is not. I don't understand why is the amp meter and this wire so hot. I've never had this before, and we're holding at only 8 amps. So if anybody has any idea here, this has me worried. Why would this be so hot unless this is sinking heat from the meter? That's all I can figure. The back of the meter is hot. I wonder if that's just, but this side isn't. I don't understand. This meter's never been warm before. Open to any tips, guys. Well, people keep asking me why I don't run my fridge. Well, here's what's going on. Turn on my inverter. I've got the original fat wires coming from the inverter. I got my fridge cable here. Now I'm sitting at 14.5 volts. I plug in the fridge to the inverter. Watch what happens. Low battery. Still sitting at 14 volts. So I don't understand this. The wires that came with it, they're fat. I've got this plugged right into the heavy wires coming in from the battery, the thickest wires I have. So it can't be the wires being too thin. But every time I plug it in, maybe my inverter's too low. I don't know. I'm going to do this one more time with, let me see if I can turn on the inverter with the fridge plugged in. With the batteries, I'm going to show you the battery voltage. I don't know, it drops to 13.7 or something. It fluctuates. But I know these golf cart batteries can handle that power just even for an hour or two. But I can't turn it on. Now I'm too warm. It's over 78 in here already. And it's just getting warmer.